Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to another episode of an honestly very hard challenge. In the last episode, Death hunted down our tribe at every bend. Not only did we find strange skeletons in the grass, but of course we also lost the very first baby between Lumina and Bandersnatch. So they do indeed share an immunity gene, which is kind of what I figured. So that means it's probably going to be very, very hard, much more so than we were hoping to see a baby with a sticky tongue. We're not giving up hope yet, though. There's still a chance that it could happen, and Lumina is going to have her next baby in 5 days. Aside from that, we also need to find a good place for Kaya to set up her nest, because she only has 2 days remaining, and she's ready to give birth tonight. So Baron, since you two are kind of set up right on the shore here, and that's very, very dangerous, why don't we see if you can lead her to safety? We want to see if maybe they could cross over to these ports. Kaya's very curious about these. She sees a skeleton, she smells those strange scents. The Beryenas have definitely been around here. So she figures that this would be the perfect place for her to set up camp, and maybe decide if her family could use it to their advantage in the future. Oddly enough, this looks like a pretty good place to have her baby. She has a pretty big berry bush over here. A shriveled up berry bush, mind you, but it's still plenty more food than her family is used to gathering. So let's go ahead and have her set up a nest right here, right in front of the ports. I wonder how that's going to affect the birth of her baby. Hopefully this baby is going to be very, very strong, because it seems like she's going to have to pass all of her hopes and dreams right on their shoulders. She's not going to have the strength to leave on these ports after all, so if she wants to truly get her revenge of the Beryenas, I guess she's going to have to leave that in her baby's paws. Smoke isn't exactly the type of creature to do that for her. In fact, he's a little bit too weak to even go to the Deadly Hills. He would only end up getting demolished. So I feel like he's more the type to stay behind and just tend to the nests. In fact, maybe he'd come on over here to shoo Lumina out of the way. If she could find a good place to settle down beside the berry bush, maybe right in between here so she can still have good access to the coconuts. She should at least be able to provide her family with plenty of food. Maybe a little bit of extra food is all her baby needs to survive. So Bandersnatch, why don't you come down here too? We'll see if you can find some more coconuts over here. Or maybe even some more of those shells if the Balance sisters are feeling generous. I guess you could probably use their help in this situation too. I wonder what the best way to get our message across to Mist would be on this island. It's not as though we have any access to any sort of swamplands here. I guess technically the best way would be through the termite mounds, but it's not as though our creatures can gather the termites easily. Not to mention, this tree is completely bare of termite hills. All the termites are focused over here instead, right next to the Prophet's tree. It's kind of interesting too, and I don't think I mentioned it before, but Comet was actually the one born beneath the Prophet's tree. I don't think any of our other creatures ever had babies beneath this tree, so it's interesting that the deities decide to intervene right here. It makes me think there is truly a very deep connection to the deities beneath this tree, and it also makes me wonder if maybe Baron's going to want to come back. Since he is a little bit worried that none of his children are showing any signs of having the Prophet's powers, I feel like he would probably want to make a pilgrimage back here to see what he has to do next. But for now, Smoke, since it looks like the nest is okay right now, I'm sure you're going to want to clean up the remains though. If only we could find you a little root out here somewhere. Maybe you could bury the baby? We'll bring you over here and you can sniff around, and hopefully one of those roots will respawn. I'm kind of surprised by how few roots we've had, actually. Now, Comet, I did see that mole is back, so I know that your brother is going to want to go after it. I wonder if you could actually provide a little bit of moral support or something. He'd probably want to catch the mole just to give you some extra food to eat. You've been pretty much solely living off of these coconuts for now, but a mole would be a pretty good meal for anyone. And then all that we have left back here is Sheba, so let's have you skid around over here, right next to Clyde as he mourns over the passing of his parents. You know, it's kind of strange. Clyde was so sure that he was on his own. He was so sure that his parents had already passed away that he never considered they might be looking for him. So finding their remains has rattled him to the core. I suppose that Sheba would probably notice that too, since she's spent the most time with our little white knight. she would probably be very curious. It kind of parallels Romeo's story, actually. He's also noticed that Coca-Cola has lost a little bit of her spark. And after... Oh my gosh, I almost forgot about that. Kaya had her baby. Thank goodness it looks like they survived. And we also unlocked the big ears and the savannah horns. Excellent. That's for spending a little bit more time in this oasis island. But yeah, as Romeo has noticed that Coca-Cola has lost her spark, he's trying to find a way to reignite that fire. Of course, one of his fondest memories would probably be playing on the shores with her, so I wonder if he would actually bring her down to the beaches. But before we move them at all, I do want to see if maybe we can take a quick look at her baby. Oh, is she an albino baby? Wait a second, Nicole. Oh my gosh, she actually has the albinism trait. That is something I was not expecting to see. A completely albino scorpion. Oh, she has the lean body too. You can see it pretty easily from this angle. And of course she has the big ears just like her parents. So she is actually an excellent member of our tribe for the oasis. The heat shouldn't bother her one bit. And she'll be able to zip around the grasses easily too, getting to those hyenas so she can poison them with her tail. Not to mention, she does actually have the ram horns. It's not quite the savannah horns, these beautiful gazelle horns that mark Baron as a prophet, but I wonder if maybe they would work in the same way. It almost reminds me of Mooneye and Crescent actually, with their crown of bones from Adam's Quest. I wonder if maybe her presence alone would help Lumina with her baby. Maybe if she can summon the gods of rebirth, they'll be able to keep Lumina's baby safe. So I guess you can finally breathe a big sigh of relief, Baron. You know there is definitely something special about this baby. You know, speaking of Adam's Quest, we used to call these albino children the beacons of adventure. So it's kind of even more fitting that she's been born right next to these ports. I think she is definitely going to lead her family to the Deadly Hills, for better or for worse, I guess. That does unfortunately mean that this is going to be Kaya's last day, though. So Baron, if you could very gently remove the grasses from the nest, that will allow you to keep an eye on your baby, because pretty soon you're all that she's going to have left. So with her last night on this island, Kaya is going to whisper all of her hopes and dreams into Nicole's ear. She's going to tell her all about those hyenas, about all of the battles that she's mastered in her time, and of course about her mission to take down the hyenas once and for all. So hopefully Nicole will carry that message close to her heart, and hopefully she'll be able to set the spirit of her mother at ease. Now Smoke, do you have any little roots you could gather up? It looks like it's still pretty bare. Maybe we should have you go this way then. If you could clear out the grasses on this side, it might actually make it easier for some of our other creatures to get to you. I'm sure pretty soon Comet's going to be on the move after all, and we want to make sure that he doesn't get completely lost. So likewise, let's see if we can bring Coca-Cola down to the shores. Maybe Romeo would actually step down there first, not only to make sure that we don't have any leech situations down here, but just because he is so infuriatingly reckless. Coca-Cola was never the type to really indulge in this kind of play. The only reason why she followed him was to scold him for his actions. But I guess in a way that's kind of what made her so independent, because she wasn't wasting any time just sitting by the nest. She was way out here exploring. And I guess that's where some of her most cherished memories come from too. This was even the same place where she fell in love with her hyena friend. So in an odd sort of way, she actually does have quite a bit to thank Romeo for. If not for him, maybe she would have just stayed at the royal nest all day. You know, we can't even see where the old place used to be. I guess it must have been completely consumed by grass. So let's have Coca-Cola make her way down the shore too. We'll have Romeo stay right behind her, of course, just in case there's any danger. And we'll have Clyde lead the baby back toward them too. I guess he kind of has a decision to make, actually. Does he want to stay here and look for more clues about his family? Or does he want to continue traveling with Coca-Cola? If he leaves and goes to find her little brother, he'll probably never see a trace of his family ever again. But the thought of giving up his friendship with Coca-Cola and her baby is probably too much to bear too. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he sees little Sheba as his own family now. Again, I don't really see these two connecting in a romantic way, but at the same time, I know that he would protect little Sheba with his life. She's far too precious for him to lose. So his parents might be long gone, but he knows he can still save Sheba. He knows he can still keep that baby safe. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Now, Comet, if we could bring you over here, maybe you could allow Cherabo to rest in the shade. He would probably suggest it, actually. As young as this baby is, he seems wise beyond his years. So he'll have his big brother rest in the shade, so he'll have all of his energy for the next turn. In fact, at 17 days old, I wonder if he's actually going to grow his third gem. That's the end of our turns too, right? Yeah, and as Kaya passes away here, we'll go back to Cherabo in just a moment to see if he's grown. Another skeleton to add to the mix. And with that strange fur color of Nicole's, it's almost hard to see where the skeleton begins. I almost wonder if Baron would see her as an omen of some sort, more than just her power to connect with the deities like he can. I guess we should change her gem color over too, kind of fitting that her family is known for their silver gems, because that's going to blend in just as well with their fur. Well, Baron, let's have you go ahead and pick this extra berry. And then, since your baby is too young to cross this gap of water, maybe we should see if there's anything else over on this side of the island. We'll have your baby skid around over here, and you can stay right next to her, just in case there's anything nefarious in the ocean. Any more roots out here now? Still not a single one. It looks like the nest is still good though, so I guess you can explore a little bit more. Go ahead and pick up that grass as Bandersnatch grabs the extra coconuts. With all of you working together, pretty soon this place will be back up to tip-top condition. Yes, and I think I do see that third and final gem, Cherabo. So now you have all 3 of your gems to work with on this turn. And that means surely that mole isn't going to be able to get away from you. For that matter, Comet even has a second gem now. So that means maybe you could actually make some room for your brother? If you jump over here, you two can work together to distract the mole. I could see Comet maybe tossing pebbles or something into the stream, just to try to get the mole to turn away. And then when he's not looking Cherabo, you go ahead and land the killing blow. So that's 4 pieces of meat? Ah, excellent. So 2 days worth of food for both of you. And I know that you're going to be very, very grateful for that. Let's have you go ahead and clear out the grasses, so hopefully your big sister will be able to find you too. Still no sign of the leeches, right? Oh, but there's actually a lot of roots out here. Alright. Maybe we'll have Clyde come on over here to pick up this root next to Romeo. In fact, maybe Romeo would even call out that he found a root for him to eat. He's trying his best not to be quite so selfish anymore. I guess finally putting Coca-Cola above himself has kind of triggered something in him. Something a little bit more delicate than his usual obnoxious charm. We could slide Sheba over in the grasses, but I think that Clyde is probably going to have to ask somebody to come here and watch her. I guess we could probably have Coca-Cola come up here. She's feeling a little bit better after all, and she'll probably feel even better after some berries too. So come on down here, Clyde. Dig up that root for the baby, and then let's have Romeo jump back here for a little while. He can try his best to clear out the grasses for the baby. Since she is 6 days old now, she should be growing her next gem soon too. Was it 7 days or 8? Alright, 8 days before the second gem, so you still have 1 more day to go, little Sheba? But then it'll be time for you to meet the rest of your family, and you have a very big family to meet. Now, just to make sure, we still can't smell the Barayina meat, right? Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion that it's probably decayed by now, but I just want to make sure we're not walking into some sort of tragedy. Wouldn't that just be the way? Coca-Cola is finally starting to feel like herself again, and now she's going to pass the remains of her mate. But we should be ready to skip the day again. So still 3 more days to go, 2 more after tonight before Lumina can have her next baby. But I don't think that little Nicole is going to be big enough to cross at that point, so we still won't have the protection of our gods of rebirth. I suppose maybe, if we bring Lumina over there instead, if she has her baby in this very same place. I wonder if that would be good luck or if it would be bad luck. I'm not sure that we'll have enough time to find out either. Since she is so hard at seeing, it would be pretty difficult for her to get over here. We could perhaps bring Baron right over to the shore, but that's only if he's willing to leave his baby unprotected for a little while. Maybe if he pushes her back into the nest for now, we could have him jump on over here, and we'll see if Lumina is feeling brave enough to cross the water. You know, that's true. She is also deathly afraid of the ocean, so I'm not sure that she would even want to get her feet wet. So try as he might to call her over here, I think she's going to try her best to ignore him. Maybe she would even pretend that she can't even hear him. And to look at that, it's probably a very, very good thing that she didn't come over. The leeches are already invading. So let's just gently scooch you back here, Baron. That way you won't be in any immediate danger. But I guess he probably realizes that Lumina is not taking any chances now. So Smoke, you should probably come on back here to make sure that the nest is ready for her. Let's have you sit here for now, and you can repair the nest on the next turn. Now, the mole has definitely not had enough time to respawn yet, but we do have another route over here too. So I guess that would be a good way to entice Clyde over this way. Maybe this tribe can follow the pathway of roots. I wonder if that's even what's kind of leading these siblings together again. Maybe the deities are placing this pathway out just for them. So Coca-Cola will have you jump up here, and we'll have Clyde take the lead this time, sniffing deep into the grasses as he goes. I think they can actually hear the termite mound now. This was the one where we used to build our nests right next to. You can still see a couple of the patches that we've cleared out. So Coca-Cola knows that she's almost home. This was actually where she was born too, so I guess she can show her baby the old nursery. She will be pretty surprised when she discovers that her entire family is missing though. So now she has a new situation on her hands. Let's have Romeo scoot down here to make sure nothing dangerous has spawned in the meantime. No new faces, no hyenas. Everything looks as quiet as can be. But with that shuffling in the distance, I wonder if that's something that Comet would pick up on, and we'll have him scoot over this way to investigate. Of course, Cherabo is not going to be far behind, and with the Clown Koi watching them, we know that this is fate taking hold. Finally, Princess Coca-Cola will be reunited with her little brother again. She will of course have some pretty sad news to give him. Cherabo actually really looked up to the hyena too. He kind of saw him as like a hero in a way. He always wanted to be just like the hyenas when he grew up. Now he might not be as strong as the hyenas yet, but I think he's still well on his way. So from this point forward, I'm sure that every single one of Cherabo's actions is going to be in memory of the hyena. He's going to keep his family safe just as his mother always intended. Now we should be ready to skip the day one more time. Let's come over here to make sure that Lumina is going to be alright. We want to make sure this nursery is going to be very, very safe after all. This is where our next little baby is going to be born. So still no sign of any wanderers out here? Nobody lurking in the grasses and nobody following you. But Sheba seems to have her second gem at hand now, so we can have her dive into the grasses. Maybe she'll even be the first to stumble directly into Cherabo. And he would probably assume that she's a little hyena baby. Not that he would be that far off the mark. She is a hyena hybrid, and she's very, very strong to show for it too. Even stronger than he is, actually. So despite the initial shock, I think he would be pretty happy to see her. Let's have him go ahead and clear out the grasses right around her so he can get a better look. And I guess likewise, Comet, you could probably do the same too. I see that you're really starting to struggle in the heat though, just like your big brother used to. So he might actually be the first one to suggest that they all turn back for the tree. I'm not sure if this entire group is really going to fit beneath it, especially with Termite City taking up so many of the tiles. But I guess they can trade places, and as long as the ocean is safe. Maybe Romeo could lead a few creatures down for a quick dip. Now, did we have any other routes out here? Just the one over here by the tree. So as Clyde leads Coca-Cola out into the open, reuniting her with her family once more, let's have Clyde scoot his way around the outskirts, getting ready to pick up one last grand meal. So let's do a little bit more snooping around, Romeo. We'll have you jump all the way down here and keep a watch for leeches, I guess. You know that Coca-Cola is going to need a little bit of time to get to know her family again, so it's probably for the best that you give her a little bit of space. I am a bit leery to leave him right here next to the ocean, but for now I guess it'll have to do. We'll just keep a very, very close eye on that location, as we have Smoke go ahead and repair this broken nest. Oh, Smoke, or pick it up instead? Well, Lumina, I guess that means you're going to have to build your own. Or maybe he wants you to come over here instead. I could definitely see that being the case too. Maybe your nest making skills just weren't up to its standards. I always get those two icons mixed up. I can't even tell you guys how many times I've accidentally picked up a nest when all I wanted to do was make sure it was prepared for the babies. I guess that means we could probably pick up this nest though. Since Lumina is definitely not going to use it, let's have you gather it up right underneath your baby's feet. And I guess we'll see if you two can find a good place to lay Kaya's remains to rest. Let's have Baron jump all the way up here. It is a little bit risky leaving his baby all alone like that, but for now I don't think we have anything to fear. Still not a single trace of bluebirds in our skies. Still no beryinas. It has been suspiciously quiet. That always concerns me when the beryinas are being stealthy, because you know Animeme is going to send them to the worst possible place. It's getting pretty hard to find coconuts too. I guess for now we'll have Bandersnatch stay over here, clear out the grasses next to the nest, and make sure that his baby is going to be okay. Hopefully we've done enough to gain misguidance. Our little beacon of positivity is desperately needed right now. So let's go ahead and zoom in straight on Lumina as we go ahead and skip the day. Let's cross our fingers too that this time we'll actually see the sticky tongue. Well, no sticky tongue, but that beautiful mask. And it looks like she's actually healthy too. So it's not quite the victory that we were looking for. But still. Celestite? Well, that is a beautiful name for an absolutely gorgeous masked baby. Look at those little stripes on her tail. Oh, that mask is really, really cool. We don't often see different patterns on our BBs anymore, because so many of our wanderers have no pattern instead. But gosh, she is gorgeous. Does she actually have the Beryena claw too? Oh my gosh, she's actually just like little Sheba. The Beryena claw and the nimble fingers. I wonder if those two would make some really fast friends. Now it also looks like this mole has come back too. So I wonder if maybe this is Cherubo's chance to really show his stuff. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be just short. He's not really fast enough to go after it, so I wonder if instead he would try to train Sheba to catch them? Or I suppose he could always try to train Comet too. Comet did help, but he didn't actually take one down himself. And with his claw, he would actually be an excellent mole hunter. So I guess both Comet and Sheba can be Cherubo's apprentices for now. I wonder if that's actually going to have Clyde feeling a little bit lonely. I mean, he has his roots to dig up, but that's nothing that Sheba can help him with. Unfortunately, it's a skill that only he possesses. So there's really nobody on this side of the island who could possibly be his apprentice. And he gave up so much to follow Cocola and her family. He must be wondering if he actually made the right decision now, as he's feeling a little bit replaced by Cocola's big brother. So in the next episode, we'll have to see if Sheba ends up being just as skilled at mole hunting as Cherubo is. I think she probably should be, especially with her increased speed since she doesn't have the spiky body. So while she's still a little bit too far away to zip over to the moles right now, and of course she only has 1 turn's worth of energy. In fact, Comet, this might be a good opportunity for you to skitter on over here and have a nice quick rest in the shade of a tree. For that matter, you better call your sister over here to gather up the coconuts. We can't let this good food go to waste. I'd imagine in the next episode too, we might even see these 2 tribes cross paths again. Though as Nicole and her father get farther and farther away from the tribe, waiting of course for her to grow her next few gems, I wonder what that's going to mean for our prophets. This would actually be the perfect time for a little message from our deities, as long as it's not something dangerous from Animeme. So let me know what you guys think of Nicole, and let me know how you think that Baron and the rest of the tribe would treat her. Would they see her as a creature to be revered, or maybe a creature to be feared? Because if she has the wrath of the deities on her side, who knows what sort of terrible things she could do. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!